Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. And this should be William's show, and that was his opening. But I'm going to step in for him tonight, and he'll be back with us on Wednesday. This is going to be a great show. I know we had a great show, the last one. Um, and if you didn't get to see Justice for All and you didn't know about our new show, go back and watch it. A great show. I think it's a great new idea for Investigator News. Now, um, we're looking at Title 42. Um, um, Basically, at its end on Thursday. And I got a great show planned for Thursday, but I'm worried. I'm really worried for our country with Title 42 ending. And, you know, you have to look at our president. And Joe Biden will run his presidential campaign, not just from his basement, but he's running it. Have you seen the commercials? He's running on freedom. The issue is freedom, and so to me, this is, folks. I think we're in a form of tyranny. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. So it's freedom versus tyranny is how I feel. Now I know you're going to say, "Oh no, 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 we're not in tyranny." Well, um, the other thing is, why does he keep bringing up mega Republicans, mega? How about some of us that don't like Trump? I'm not saying I do or don't. I'm just saying, what about those folks that don't like Trump and they would rather vote for somebody else? Why has he put a label on all conservatives or Republicans or the GOP as MAGA Republicans? So he is against 50% of our country. If you do 50-50, which was during our vote, 50-50, 50% of the country didn't want Joe Biden, 50% did. And so 50% of the country he is against. And I thought this was unity. And I thought Joe Biden was going to stand for freedom. Actually, he stands for a totalitarian implement of um, fascism, Marxism, socialism. Now, if now um, they moved into this administration as socialist, not social programs, as socialist. And it only takes, get this. Now I found out through Marxism and fascism when I read Karl Marx and some of the other ones that it only takes 3 years. If you do it right, you can put it into totalitarianism, into communist. So is that what we're seeing before us? And not a damn thing has he done as president to promote freedom. Joe Biden is the last of the segregationists. And I tell you this all the time. And he likes to pretend that he was a part of the civil rights movement. He was a part of the anti civil rights movement. When he stepped foot in Senate, he befriended most racist in the Senate. They took him under his wing. And who are we talking about? Democrats. And they were trying to keep the schools segregated back then, all the way to the 80s. Because, see, that was what surprised me when I moved to the South, because I seen them. It's going to be black here, it's going to be white over here, it's going to be black only, white only. The documents show us, the speeches show us, and what it did. What did he do? He opposed every attempt at integrating public schools in inner cities, including Wilmington. That's in the documents. He opposed every attempt in integrating cities, period. And back then, even African Americans' right to vote. Did you guys know that? That was part of the civil rights. And that was what he was against. Him, Hillary, quite a few, Nancy Pelosi. The protest with Goldwater will even show it. And this is something I keep telling you. And D'Souza with the movie Hillary will show you. He was remaking himself into something he is not. He is not a civil rights activist, but a plagiarist. And now that he got through law school and while he was running for president, lying about his scholarship, lying about his grades, none of that has changed. He lies. Will he run on freedom? How the hell is he going to run on freedom? Uh, and you know, it's uh, uh, unscripted, unscribed, unscripted press conferences, cheat sheets. Remember, we found the cheat sheets on him. He will not only that, but will he? Why won't he allow neurological exams? How come we have? He won't even allow an impartial doctor to look at what's going on with him. We, the American people, have a right to demand this. The first lady isn't even wanting to compromise what he has done. She won't even talk before microphones. Uh, she won't even. How come we don't see the first lady talking Christian values? And when you look, Bohemian Grove. The media and the Democrat Party know. They know. Before there's a single vote cast in the Democrat primary, certainly the general election, will we get to see his mental health? Will they release it? Of course not. And we have, with the amendment, with what we have for our Constitution, and he should have stuck to it. When he put his hand up and the other one on the Bible, he swore to protect our country. And then, uh, since this is news, what about this guy that they just caught? That they said he's got a kind of like a name, a Spanish name, and they said, oh, uh, he had a swastika on, so he's a white supremacist. Folks, I hate to tell you, white supremacists don't like anybody of color, any color, whether it's Asian, Spanish, black, anything. They do not like color. So, how much of a farce is that? And to know that we were freaking out when Reagan was kind of showing dementia. They said, "Oh my God, he don't need the football. What's football? It's that nuclear button." We have Joe Biden with his finger right next to the nuclear button. And not only that, but we have Twitter, FBI, DHS, censorship. Very Marxist of him. He rules by executive orders. We're on energy dependence, banning air conditioning, um, gas, fuel, destroying women's sports. Does this sound free to you? Does this sound like a free country? Turning our borders into mass murdering drug cartels, overseeing the sex trade, enslavement of children, crimes on the borders. Million of illegals flooding our towns, cities, schools, hospitals, tons of fentanyl and other drugs, illegal weapons. So much for gun control. Proposing to sell people's health, wealth tax, really? We're on a pro life community, and not only that, but a war on parents. A promotion of partial birth, abortion right. right before birth. Democrats tell me, I mean, all of you all agree that you're going to have a baby and decide to let the doctor let that baby die right in front of you. Really? Is that what you want? I don't think so. I think it's a lie. July, uh, Joe Biden believes it's not a baby, it's a choice. And that's what they're promoting. Do these women promoting abortion? Now, I could see the right to have an abortion because something bad happened, or maybe the guy jerked you around. Yeah, go for it. But why have the baby all the way to birth and take a look at it and say, no, I don't want that baby? Joe Biden believes in it. It's not a baby, it's a choice. Wow. And us condoning sex changes without parental consent, it sounds like a sicker perversion. And talk about, book banning. Really? Book banning of history, but you're going to put porn and sex books for 5-year olds? This is pornography in our schools. And yet, if the parents complain, then they're terrorists. Wow, this is what he supports. Does that sound free? Does that sound like freedom? Creating mountains of debt with massive borrowing and spending imposed on us. And generations yet born. They won't be free. We won't negotiate with this ridiculous budget, us, the GOP. And, well, I'm going to say I'm more of a, um, a conservative, but I'm a constitutionalist. I'll listen to the other side, but I'm going to put down both sides. And we won't negotiate with his ridiculous budget of spending, printing. Eliminating a single family homes is what he wants. Expanded the IRS by 87,000 agents to go after you. For what? That's tyranny. It's communism. To go after you. And he opposes school choice. Um, and to bring in teachers in the teachers union that want to teach our kids not history. They want to take history out of the classroom, English out of the classroom. Why? Because the illegals coming in wouldn't do English. Now think about this, folks, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. Schools, how many different languages with all these illegal or let's say just migrants moving in? We are going to have to bring in translators. How many translators do we need per school? Is this freedom? A look at rule of law, religion, relations, the size for government. United States dropped 7 nations. Remember when it was us? Um, it was us. It was China. It was Russia. We're 23rd now. How did that happen? We're 23rd. What happened to we're number 1 with a bullet? Now we're 23rd. Who's number 1? Well, they say Switzerland, New Zealand, Estonia, Denmark, Ireland. They don't even want to mention China or Russia. We used to be number 1. Now we rank 25? Really? And I had to go fact check that one. Mark Levin's the one that said it. Our freedom score is 70.6. Wow. And this is freedom? We call the Constitution of the United States, but Joe Biden, when he put his hand on the Bible, his right hand in the air, he swore to uphold and enforce laws. You're not doing it, Joe Blow. You're not doing it. You're not upholding the Constitution of the United States, Article 1, Section 1. All legislative powers should be vested in Congress, be vested in the United States. That's plain English. Joe should be able to comprehend that. Should he? Or is it somebody else that's running this country that don't give a damn about the First Amendment? He comes into office the first day and he did all this executive orders, as Franklin Roosevelt did. And what else? When Joe Biden issues an executive order, that is trillions of dollars of money to redistribute to wealthy Americans to pay off their student loans. That violates every American constitution. Every executive order he signed has a huge effect on our economic situation in this country. It's supposed to go through Congress first. Did we know that? And sometimes we vote on this. Joe has ignored that left and right to establish a uniform rule. Immigration. He's ignored every law in the books, every one of them. Article 2, Section 3 says, even when it is warned, if I shall take care of the law of the lands, and the United States are faithfully executed, the laws of the lands are executively in place. No matter who you are, you could be the president of the United States. He swore in to obey the laws of the lands and to execute the laws of the lands. Has he done that? No. He's violated it. He does not like the Bill of Rights. Joe Biden and his Democrats in common have done everything they can to kneecap religious organization and faiths. We know he hates free speech. They have worked with Twitter and internet organizations. I told you on Thursday, Obama called them in. The media, I'm talking the media, and paid them to do what he said. And what did Joe Biden do when he got in office? Come on, media, come in here. And when they went back out, they are to obey him. Obey the Democrats. Wow. I told you, it's in the documents, folks. It's out there. Google it. Go to Tom Fenton. It's there. Even if you disagree, there's nothing we can do about it. Why? Where's the GOP on this? Well, a socialist program. They're moving socialism. Now we're moving to communism. The Second Amendment, part of the right to keep people impaired with having arms. He signed an executive order trying to bring in the rights not to bear arms in this country. The world doesn't have the Bill of Rights and the Constitution we have. That's why it's harder, and we're one of the last on the list. The other one's going with Russia and China that does not agree with Klaus Schwab or the World Economics part that we have Davos over it. Or the First Amendment. What about the Fourth Amendment? The right of the people to secure in their persons house, paper, and effects. Again, unreasonable searches and seizures. What? Yeah. That's the Fourth Amendment. What did I say? To secure the people of the United States, their house, their paper, and effects, and unreasonable searches and seizures. Didn't he storm in and throw the FBI and put people out in their underwear for no reason? For what? Unreasonable searches and seizures. Did not the Inspector General testify there were a million cases of the FBI doing unreasonable searches. What about the fifth? What does it say? That we're not to be deprived of life, liberty, or the process without due process, delay, a process of delay, the law, and the wealth tax, and other things. The Constitution of the United States protects us from government. It's what keeps the government in proper limited lane, is what it says. It's to keep them from doing what this government is doing right now. Joe Biden and the Democrats are endlessly attacking farmers, our foundation principles. They seek to destroy the Constitution. And why? Well, what are they doing? They're knocking down all these statues. They're getting rid of history. Why? Because they want to burn it down. And whether it's the Supreme Court or a filibuster rule or our voting system or our border, Joe Biden, what is going to destroy it? And this is freedom. He should run as the oldest living communist dictator that's ever hit the United States. And he's a segregationalist from the 1970s who opposed integration. He wanted blacks and whites, and he wanted them a big racial hornet's nest. And did he get it? Is he doing this for Senator Byrd, that was the leader of the KKK? I have pointed out, and I even said, I had someone tell me they lived next to some property with the Clintons. And what did they do? They burned a cross and had a bunch of white hoods happening. This was in the 80s, but it was acceptable back then. Is that what they've done today? And, like I said, the shooter, how could he be KKK or white supremacist when they don't allow color in their organization? No color. No color. If they even find out you're half and half of anything, you're gone. They don't allow that. It's white, white only. Don't fall for the lies. And it's not all Mexicans they're sending over the border. It's South America. It's all over the world. China, our enemies. And for Chicago and New York and a few others saying, oh, we've had enough. Oh my God, what are we going to do with the 3,000 people? How about El Paso? The streets are so full, okay, that they're standing around. What are they standing around waiting for? Food. They're waiting on food. And get this, the food trucks pull up. They are beating each other. There's even been knife attacks and shootings. What? How come we're not hearing about this? Because they don't want you to hear about this on the border. Those people are hungry in El Paso. These immigrants, by the thousands, they were promised food, they were promised jobs and housing. What are they getting? They're standing around going, now what? It's going to collapse, not only El Paso, but we have to look at, as Thursday comes around, hundreds of thousands coming into our country, 13 million. Now get this, in 2 years, if we cover the cost of these, and I feel for some of them, I do. You think of, they're saying 13 to 20 million. Now think about taxpayers paying at least 6,000 per person times 20 mil. Trillions. Isn't it AOC that said we need 50 to 90 trillion dollars so we can get this all taken care of? Not only this, but the Green New Deal. Yeah, can you see where this is adding up? And of course, do away with colleges, the loans. This is an outrage, folks. And I'm afraid if nothing is done on Thursday, and I've told William, and I've mentioned this to quite a few others, that I have a great show on China coming Thursday. But you know what? If a civil war breaks out, I'm going to have to do a show on that. And I want to prepare everybody because I don't know what's going to happen. I've looked, I've talked, I've called everybody along the border. What is going to happen? And they said they believe that when they let all of these migrants in, they're going to hold them off. And then when they come in, the cartel comes in with them and they move the border for the cartel into this country. Even further, they're on the border, but what they want to claim 50 to 100 miles of United States border for the cartel to be able to run. And what about just the collapse of all these cities? Think about this where you live. Can you take in? Now, think about what your city has: jobs, housing, how, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. What about a little itty bitty farming community where they want to send these people to, of 50 to 100,000 people? That's a whole city. Where are we going to house them? For one, they're going to be standing around on the streets like they're doing in El Paso. How are we going to be able to pay for this? The taxes are going to be now in a socialist communist world, 90% of your taxes go to the government and then they give you social programs. Can you afford? I'm gonna go real light on this. Can you afford 70% of your wages that you earn to go to taxes to cover all this? And they might give you maybe a box of food that's got cereal and a few canned goods in it. Does that cover your money? Is that going to pay your rent, your car? And I mentioned briefly about our schools. We're going to have to bring in translators. Now, a lot of Joe Biden will say they're going to take the jobs that people don't want. There is no jobs. There is no jobs. Okay, so if they take the fast food jobs, where do they put them? Okay, if let's say they're on the fry or they're flipping those little burgers, how, unless you got someone that speaks that language, you're going to have to bring in a translator, which means your McDonald's Happy Meal for the kids is going to be $20, $30 because now we're bringing in translators in the schools. Are we going to have 2 or 3 teachers to be able to teach? Or we're going to bring in college students to speak that language to tell that kid what the teacher's teaching? And will they do it right? Title 42 ending is going to change this country hugely if the Supreme Court doesn't step in and stop all this. Will they? We don't know. And Biden thinking he's a dictator of tyranny, of communist, he could veto anything. He could put in anything. It's law. Is he abiding by our laws or is he a dictator? Are we seeing socialists or are we seeing communists in this country? Texas will never be the same. All of the anything that's on the border, those states are going to change. And they said, "Oh, we're going to ship them to other states," and they are. Can you take 10 to 50,000 in the city you're living in? Can you do that? And can you imagine the taxes that's your city's going to do, and then your state to take care of these people? Where are we going to put them all? Where are we going to put all these people? El Paso's having a hell of a time, and so is other uh, cities along the border. And then we hear Chicago, oh, it's a state of emergency. We can't handle this. New York, same way. Oh my God, don't send no more. I say we send thousands to DC. This is how we're going to get it, folks. It's how I want you guys to listen to this close. Why not send hundreds of thousands of these people to DC? You know what they're going to do? They're going to put a fence up. They're going to put a fence up around the major parts. You keep sending them and sending them and sending them hundreds of thousands. Let's send 1,000,000 to DC. I know I'm going to get hit for this, but I'm mad. We can take people in the right way. We can take them in to where they can become citizens, and there are people. I got a family just moved in 2 doors down from Venezuela. The whole family. It's just them, mom, dad, and the kids. He's found a good job. She found a good job, but they're having problems with the kids because the teachers don't speak their language. But they're paying their way. But I'm saying, let's send them to DC until they cave. If New York's going, oh my God, we can't handle it. Okay, let's send 500,000 to DC. What are they going to do? Oh my God, I can't handle it. Well, then do something. That's what I want. I'm calling for the GOP to send 500,000 migrants to DC. Right there into DC. Oh, what are they going to do? Can we get this government to cave and say, okay, okay, I get the point. Let's close it. Let's close the borders. Until we put them in that position, they're going to keep bringing them in by the millions. And we're going to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it. I pay taxes. You pay taxes. This is not acceptable, folks. And I may have lost viewers today, but I don't give a damn. We have got to put our foot down and say, do it right. If you're going to get this, they're saying 10% that come across that border actually want to become an American, and they want to work and legally work and make themselves something in this country. They want their life to be great again. They left a tyranny. I don't mind those people because I've seen quite a few of them, some even in my own family, and I'm very proud. They paid $9,000 to be able to be accepted in this country and to work, and they worked very hard. Why can't the rest of them do it? Don't come running over our borders and think we're going to give you a job. Tell me, can you speak English? Are you going to pay taxes? Or are you going to send it back to Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, China, Africa? You're going to send all your money away, or are you going to help this country? More than likely, they're just here to get a free handout. When you see them beating each other up for food at the food truck, well, you know what? I thought you were coming here to work and be an upstanding citizen, not beat up people that just ran across the border with you to get a sandwich. It's not right. And I'm very fearful on Thursday when we see this country could be changed forever. And then what do I say? You know, I'm thinking on what do I say on Friday? What do I say on Friday if we see World War III on our border and not with China? Where this country is never going to be the same. And how do we stop them? I don't know. I've called senators, I've called congressmen, I've called the White House, I've called Kamala Harris's office, Joe Biden, Jill Biden even. And they don't want to talk. They say, oh, just leave a comment and we'll get it to them. Well, no. Leaving comments don't work no more. And these resolutions don't work no more. Not against freedom. And that's where I started the whole show at, freedom. This isn't freedom. This is tyranny. Boy. But that's it, folks. I really wanted to bring in and show you freedom and tyranny. And the Democrats, Joe Biden, swore in that they were going to uphold our laws. They were going to take care of our country first. And they have turned their backs on it. Why? Because really, that's what communists do.